What's up, y'all? Kosher Kush 420 kicking into another meal of the day. We're going to be doing a chicken caprese sandwich. For this one, I'll be going over basically how to make your own fresh pesto using a bunch of basil, a little bit of arugula, some spinach, a little bit of fresh garlic, parmesan, some olive oil. You don't need pine nuts, you don't need any nuts. That's just a texture thing if you like nuts. So first we're going to start off by picking our basil off the stems. We're going to use a fair amount, just like a cup or two. It all depends on how much pesto you want to make. I plan on using this for a bunch of other different things than just this one sandwich. So once we got all of our basil picked, we're going to take some spinach and arugula mix that I get at the grocery store. And we're just going to fill up the food processor. Once we got that all in there, we're going to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese. You can see I don't really have measurements. A lot of this just kind of going by eye and how things will taste. Which is how a lot of cooking is done. Know what you're doing, which is why I try to bring these videos to y'all, so I can learn techniques. Cooking is an art. As long as you know techniques, flavors and all that other stuff are like your colors that you paint with. So be creative. So we're going to add a little bit of moisture in there to help blend all this together in our food processor. We're just going to chop this down until it looks like a whole bunch of just chopped up greens. So once you're doing this, you can see it'll start to cake up on the edges. So you want to make sure that every now and then you go through and we're going to scrape the edge, bring all that stuff back in, off the wall of the food processor, back towards the center. Now at this point, it's a matter of finishing it off with some more oil and bringing it into a nice kind of pureed texture, consistency. So we're just going to continue to let that run through as we add our oil, looking for a consistent kind of flow around the blade. Just letting it keep pureeing up those greens and the garlic, mixing all of that stuff together. Difference right now in consistency than it was before. We're going to go through and season this up a little bit. taste, see how much seasoning we might need. So normally I will never shake in salt or pepper like that because it is very easy to over season. Normally I will always pinch it with my fingers and sprinkle it in like you just saw with the pepper. Because once we mix that in and I retaste, I shall notice that I've just over salted. Which is why I never recommend just kind of shaking it in loosely like that. Always, you have much more control when you use your fingers and thumbs and pinch in a little bit. So to cut that extra saltiness, we're going to add in some more greens and blend that all in with a little bit more oil. It wasn't extremely over salty, but it was just a little bit. So now that our pesto is done, we're going to use some of that just to make some of our pesto aioli for this caprese sandwich. And aioli is basically a fancy word for mayonnaise. So we're going to start with a base mayo. We're going to add in some of that delicious pesto, and we're going to mix all that together. So then, we're making a chicken caprese sandwich, right? So of course we got to have our chicken. So we have a nice hot saute pan here. We've got 2 chicken breasts that we're going to sear off. Get some nice good caramelization on there. Of course we always season our food, so we're going to hit that with a little bit of salt and pepper. And we're going to cover that and let that steam help cook our chicken, as well as not let grease splatter all over my stovetop. So we're going to flip those. You can see we've got a nice delicious golden brown, good little sear on there. Flip those, do it on the other side, again with the lid. So once those have got a good color on them, we're going to pull those out. We're going to slice those up real quick. We're going to finish off cooking because, as you can see, a lot of our chicken is still kind of raw. So you can see though that there was also a little bit, before we threw the chicken back in there, there was some of what we call a fond, a little cooking residue from the chicken left on the bottom of the pan. That is going to help us develop a nice roasted chicken kind of flavor as these juices start to break down and dissolve that and coat our chicken with it. That's why you can see it's kind of changing that color a little bit all over, where it's not just white. Throw a little lid on there, like I said, to help that steam cook our chicken a little bit faster. We're going to take our nice roll, cut that in half, not all the way through though. You still want that hinge in the back. We're going to slather on our pesto aioli on both sides. take some of that spinach and arugula mix that we had when we made our pesto. We're going to use that as our lettuce for our sandwich. We're going to throw down some slices of the beautiful heirloom tomato. Pile on some of our cooked chicken. Top that off with a couple slices of fresh mozzarella. And we're going to set that onto our sheet tray. We're going to put those into our oven under the broiler just until that cheese is nice and melted. And there we have our delicious chicken caprese sandwich. That thing looks so yummy. You guys should give it a try.